going through a breakup at any time in life can be difficult. What we're going to do today is go over 5 strategies for your mental health resilience after a breakup. There's going to be 5 strategies, but there will be a bonus at the end, so stick around to hear what I have to say about that. So, we all know that when we are in relationships with your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be, when it gets to the point of breakup, it's stressful, it's sad, it's confusing. It can be even happy at times, but that's not generally. There's going to be one of the parties that's heartbroken. So, what we're going to do is we're going to just go over some strategies to help with that. What can we do to make ourselves be more resilient after a breakup? Well, here's the first thing you can do. Feel your feelings. No matter if you're been married for a year, 10 years, 20 years, been just dating for 13 years, whatever. No matter how long you've been together, it's important to go ahead and just feel your feelings during that time. Know what's going on, process what you're feeling inside, know what your symptoms like, how are you processing it? A lot of times people will say, man, I've had a headache for 3 days after going through something significant such as a breakup. And the reason that that's important is because normally we'll identify, okay, so maybe the headache's because of I need to process this feeling or because I'm sad or whatever it may be. So if we really let ourselves identify those feelings, we can start processing better and then working through them, which will eventually lead to a better you. It will help the process go along when we're going through something difficult, such as a breakup. If you're having a hard time, just understanding the feelings, knowing what's going on, one thing that's really good for the soul is journaling, reflecting on what's happened in the relationship, even fostering ideas that maybe it was a good thing. Maybe you guys have been fighting for 6 months to 6 weeks or 6 days, and it's just been horrible. If we reflect on that, we can generally see what the fault was and how it could have been beneficial that breakup happened. You can also reflect on the good times, take pieces of what happened and make it good, make them good memories so that it doesn't hold you back. A lot of times when we break up, all we want to do is think about the negative, in the moment we're like, we make it worse. We catastrophize it, and it becomes something bigger than what it is. That's the hard reality. So when we're sitting there and we're journaling and we're writing down our feelings, we have to make sure that we're reflecting on all aspects of this relationship. And that way we can move through that and get past it, actually. If we don't identify what we're going through and we try to just push it over, a lot of times what that leads to is moving into another relationship too fast, taking that same stuff into another relationship and finding a rebound that isn't really necessarily healthy. And that rebound could be, another person. It could be drugs. It could be alcohol, whatever it is. If we do not really focus on how we're feeling and processing those feelings, the rebound of that relationship could have really negative, long-lasting effects. So what we need to do is really journal, reflect on what we're feeling, reflect on what we're going through, reflect on what we're wanting for the future. Just give yourself a purpose in 3 months, 5 months, 10 months, 2 years. Really reflect on what you need as a person. Be mindful of yourself at this point, what you need to do to work past this. Use your coping skills in the middle of this, take self-care days, just reflect on everything that you need to take care of you. Okay. And then we need to remember the why. A lot of times what happens in relationships is that we get to this point of complacent. Okay. And everything becomes just okay. And with that being said, there's generally a deeper meaning or problem that's rooted that we don't even think about. And whatever it is, if we will really think about and just kind of hone into that idea of, okay, what caused this breakup? What happened? Why did this happen? Why did you not work it out? Why could you not work it out? Think about the whys in the relationship. Okay. Not the what ifs, but the whys. That way you can identify what happened and what needs you need to work on. If you need to work on yourself, again, you're doing this for yourself. You're not doing it for the other person. This is for yourself, right? So you need to identify where you want to get stronger for the next situation, the next time this arises, the next time you're in a relationship. For me, I know that, in the beginning of William and I's relationship, we did a lot of breakups, get back together. And a lot of that was because of the why. The why was myself. The why was himself. The why was not knowing how to work through past, not knowing what to do. So we were the why, and we had to figure out how to work through those whys to get to where we are today. It made us very healthy. But if we would have done that before the relationship ended or started, sorry, we might not have had to go through the challenges that we had to. So really think about the why. Remember the why. Also remember the why you got with somebody. A lot of times I think people criticize or think ill of themselves because why did I even get with that person? Well, there was something about that person that you liked or enjoyed. Maybe didn't process it all the way through. Maybe you just ran with, the idea of having somebody, whatever it is, there was a reason of why that relationship was put in place. Might not have been the best reason, might not have been a good reason, but there was a why. And if you can identify the why you even got in that relationship, it will help you self-reflect. For example, if you got into a relationship a week after you broke up with your last boyfriend of 10 years, the why might be because you were lonely. And so that case, that instance, what you would need to do is work on finding peace within before you move on, right? Maybe you jumped in and that's why that relationship only lasted 3 weeks, 6 weeks, or why, you know, the communication wasn't there or whatever was lacking. Okay. Um, the next thing, number 4, would be reach out to your friends, reach out to your support groups, talk to family. Don't just hold it in. Don't be alone. I mean, it's one thing, and I say this a lot, but it's one thing to feel your feelings, but don't let yourself get stuck there. Just because you had a bad situation, you've had a breakup, maybe you've been together for, like I said, years and years, but maybe you've only been together a few weeks. We learn to adapt to the other person that we're in that relationship with. And we normally focus in on that person when we're in that relationship, and our friends and everything become like secondary. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to reach out to those friends. We need to make them be important in our lives because they never stop loving us or caring for us. We're all busy, we're all doing things. But what we can do is lean on them for support. Especially during the holiday seasons like we're coming up on. If we are sitting there alone and we're sulking in our own feelings and our own pain, generally we can reach out, have a friend moment, and that will help us get through the breakup process. That will help us not feel as alone. That will help us be more mindful of how we're doing and what we need to be doing. Um, our friends are pretty amazing. We choose our friends for a reason, and they are there for us no matter what. So it's up to us to make sure that we're utilizing them and we're reaching out. It's up to us to have that support system that we can get out of the house, go do something, go ice skating, go to a movie, go look at Christmas lights, whatever it may be. Reach out to your friends and then talk to your friends. Share your feelings with your friends. Have somebody that you can be confident that you can go to and share the information. And if you don't have a friend like that, that's going to lead us to the next step. And that's going to be number 5. Okay. And I'll get that to just a second. I said that, sometimes we push our friends back to the little back burners for a little bit. But if we've been in relationships for years, or several months and it leads into years, our friendship group is probably impeccable still, right? And we can lean on them, and we will be able to have somebody that we can talk to. We will be able to have that person that we had in a relationship for a little bit. And your friends aren't going to care. They're going to enjoy being there for you. They're going to enjoy your time. and they're going to want to see you get through the breakup, and they want to see your resilience so that you can get back to your daily life and flourishing and doing the best you can. I'm so sorry, guys. So number 5, of course, I'm a therapist. We've talked about this. I've not been shy about it. So I would say if you have nobody else, if you have somebody and still struggling and don't feel that you can share, reach out to a therapist. Therapists help people with relationships all the time. That is something that I see a lot of in a daily practice, especially with my older adults. Um, and I can tell you that the journey is difficult for generally everybody that I talk to. Getting through a breakup is hard. Again, whether it's been a few months or whether it's been 20 years, the ending of a relationship is hard. It's grief. It's a grief process. We don't think about that. But when we lose a relationship, that is a connection that we don't generally get back. And so it becomes very hard. We go through anger, we go through sadness, we go through guilt, we go through all the emotions. And sometimes we don't have anybody that understands that. Sometimes we don't feel that we can talk to somebody about it, but you can always talk to a therapist. I think that a lot of times people don't realize that sometimes a therapist gives a different outlook. They're really encouraging and supportive. They really want to see you be motivated and to just bounce back. Whether it takes a few weeks, whether it takes 6 months, whether it takes 2 years, they want to be there to help you and support you through this rough time. I know that a lot of my clients become very down on themselves after a breakup. They find fault in themselves, or they do a lot of self-blaming. That guilt is hard. And so what I do is I help encourage positive thought process. I help motivate them to find a better thought process about the situation. And there's times that we just really have to have extra support to get through some situations in lives. And that's what I love about therapists. That's what I love about being a therapist. My job's not always, diagnosing the worst of depressions or bipolar or that. Sometimes it's just there to be the additional support that somebody needs. That attaboy, that, hey, let's do this. Hey, how are you doing today? That ability to be there for them in a level that they don't have anybody else to be there for. So definitely, if you are feeling stuck or alone or need to get something off your chest, reach out to a therapist. One will always be able to work with you and walk through with you ways to become your resilient self, ways to become the person that's on the other side of that relationship and that sadness and sorrow. They will be able to guide you through anger that you feel occasionally. They will be able to help you process what's going on and get you to a point of feeling that you're living your genuine, happy life. Okay. And then we have one last bonus one what I told you guys to stick around for is right here. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is move on. Get out of there. Get out of the thought process of beating yourself up. Live your life. Enjoy your life. Love your life. And above all, love yourself. Just because your relationship has ended does not mean the world has stopped. When a relationship comes to a point of ending, there is a reason. And generally, we should not second guess ourselves of why it ended. Instead, we should find the reason of why it ended and decide to move on. I can tell you stories of multiple people, but I don't like to share everybody else's story. So I will tell you this. When I got divorced, I thought I was dying. It was the worst thing that ever happened to me. I thought that I just was no longer a person that deserved to be loved. I thought I had messed up. I felt all the feelings, and it was the worst feeling of my life. And one day, and not everybody has this privilege because they're not normally going through a master's program during a divorce for psychology or counseling or any of that. But I was, and I was very lucky that that's where I was in my life. And I was reading in one of my books one day And it resonated on me that this whole choice is mine. The choice of what happens in my life is mine. So what I did is I went ahead and I decided it's time to move on. It's time to get out, up and live life and do what I need to do to be happy. And once I made that decision, life was amazing. I started to live again. I started to thrive again. I started to believe in myself again. I started to love myself, love my life and what I'm doing. So it was an amazing, amazing journey for me to go from the sadness and pain to being able now to look back and see where I grew from all that was happening. And when I think of myself now today, I do think about how resilient I am, how resilient I am to overcome the darkest part of my life, so I thought. And I did it. I made that choice to move on. I made the choice to think positive. I put it in my head that, it wasn't just a me thing. And then I also told myself, maybe there's a reason. And there was. Look at me today. Look where I am today. Look how happy I am today. Look how much my life has improved from then. There was a reason. Though I didn't see it in the moment, there was a reason. So I will say the bonus tip is probably one of my favorites because I can give you true testimony of that. And I can tell you that it's hard, but it took me going through 1 through 5, all 5 steps to actually get to number 6. And once you do that, you're going to see that life's a little bit different and you're shining a little bit better and your resilience will shine through. So that's what I have for today. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye.